All right, perfect. If all of us are here, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 12 o'clock sharp. Do you want to do roll call, Cheryl?
Yes, Mike Baker.
Here.
Natasha Atkinson. Here. Janice Baker.
Here.
John Steele.
Here.
Deb Mindenhall.
Here.
Kathy Dewhurst Carreri.
Here.
Michaela Hammerson.
Here. All right. You know, we need to figure out what is proper for the Pledge of Allegiance when we have an all virtual meeting, because that is something I messed up on last time. But we're going to listen to all of you guys do the Pledge of Allegiance this time. Natasha, do you want to lead the Pledge of Allegiance for us?
They do it online with their microphones on, we get an echo.
Yeah.
No. Okay, I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Like that? Exactly like that.
Exactly
like
that.
I muted.
It does, I'm like, and words.
Okay. All right. So our first real order of business is to discuss the general manager contract. We, as a board, have not received any bids or contracts at this point. I know we did have an audit or on location this week. We actually got quite a bit of information from ODOT, and there was a recommendation to post on Transit Talent, CTAA. I think Cheryl has some additional information on places that we can solicit because we have, is it 10 days left, Cheryl?
10 days left of work days for me, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Transit Talent is a good one. It's a nationwide search and it is just what it says, specific to transit. CTAA, the same thing, that it is a nationwide specific to transit. APTA is another one, which is the American Public Transit Association. But I believe you have to be a member to post on that one. And we did not do that membership.
Okay.
But those are the options aside,
you-
and Oregon Transit as well.
Do you have any idea what a membership for APTA costs? I mean, is it cost prohibitive?
It's like, I believe it was 2,700 for the year.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is a lot. Okay, so we might want to have more conversation about that. But do we think that, I mean, I know we have quite a bit of workload for you for the next 10 days. But do you think that it would be possible for us to get it posted possibly by tomorrow to jumpstart that search, just so we can receive solicitations?
And it's probably appropriate for that to go through HR.
Yes.
As well. Yeah,
that would be very helpful. Yeah, if we could have Becky help with that, that would be amazing. Is she familiar with Transit Talent and CTAA?
I don't know if she is, but I can send her the links to all of them.
Okay. Perfect.
Are we looking to make any edits to the job description prior to post?
Well, I think that what we need to probably, I mean, we have two separate problems here. We're probably not going to hire somebody in 10 days. We need to have that out there for a while, and then we probably need some interim help. And so that's where, I mean, originally we were thinking that's why we would solicit a temporary contract for someone to come in and just sort of take over managerial duties. But that was something also that ODOT had recommended, possibly reaching out to some prior transit managers that maybe would be willing to do it on a short-term basis on a contract, or there were some other ideas. Natasha, you might be
Yeah,
better than me.
ODOT did reach out on our behalf, and Scott Chansey from Josephine County has capacity to help. And Julie
Oh.
Brown said that she can figure out how to get some capacity as well. So
Julie
we already have two people that are
Willing to assist.
available to assist as early as we want.
Perfect. So we could then possibly have our attorney help draft a contract. But we would want to schedule both of those people probably for the board to be able to have discussions with them, do interviews, and yeah, so I don't want to add more to our work session.
But it is what it is.
Well, those are two eminently qualified individuals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've worked with them for a number of decades, and they're very good.
So
Yeah.
do we think that we need more time, or do we want to move this agenda item to,
I'm
well,
I'm
August
fine
4th?
if we want to post as is. I mean, I haven't read the job description in a minute. I have read it historically. I feel like it's probably what's the right word, generic enough that even if we were to change kind of who does what in the structure, I don't know that that would change the overall duties, if that makes
Yeah,
any sense. Because the
and I
person's
think
over
that
everything anyways, like
Yeah, I agree.
their responsibility. So I kind of take back what I said earlier. I think we're fine.
yeah, so posting that, I don't know that that's necessarily a problem to start getting interest for a
Agreed.
long term, but for the interim, we need a contract written up, and I don't know when Ron could have that completed for us if we assign him that task. So
Right.
I'm thinking, I actually think he is supposed to be on the call for executive session. So
Okay.
we may want to just pick up that conversation once he's on the phone and just find out timeline wise when he's able to have that contract done for us. And then we can decide whether or not we want to move this to September 4th, or if we need to have another special meeting, which I would prefer not to.
Agreed.
So,
My
okay.
real job would like to see me someday.
Oh, I know. Okay.
I could
Go ahead.
actually send the invite for September 4th to both Scott and Julie. Because that would give them some real insight into what the challenges are jumping in.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Okay. So let's put, just tentatively, let's go ahead and continue this general manager contract discussion on the 4th with a potential for interviews to happen that day.
Beautiful.
Does that work?
Yeah, and I think I'd recognize that both of them are pretty busy in their other positions, and although they have time to be free, it's quite likely that neither one would be able to necessarily come up here very often. So they'd be
Okay.
managing probably a little bit from afar, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Right.
Are you guys thinking we would need assistance from both of them, or we would pick one? What are you
I think we would
saying?
just pick one, but we'll need assistance up here locally as well.
Yes.
Operations is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Agree. Yeah.
Can I confirm that the meeting on the 4th that's at 4 o'clock?
4
Mhm.
o'clock.
Yes.
Correct.
All right. Any other discussion on this agenda item? Are we okay to move that?
I don't think we need a motion in any capacity. We're just moving
No,
it.
there's no
Okay.
action to take.
Perfect.
Okay, so then discuss emergency assessment contract. I'll let Cheryl go ahead and discuss this one. I think we've still only received one bid on the emergency assessment contract.
So the cover page kind of gives some more detail. So during our 8/23 special board meeting last week, hiring a consultant to provide emergency assessment identify opportunities to increase efficiency that would support financial stability, and make recommendations to the board for possible reorganization was discussed. It was, one sec. It was determined that although the district views this as an emergency situation, ODOT does not necessarily concur that this meets the emergency level that would allow a sole source procurement. And it would be in the best interest of the district to conduct an RFP process and receive a minimum of 3 bids. So the discussion just really needs to be, what does that RFP process look like if we're gonna move forward with this consultant?
Yeah,
Consultant ID.
so I think what we need to do once again is just sort of put that out there, put the solicitation out for you know, this corporate what is it, culture shift that we're looking to sort it, that we've discussed a little bit for this emergency assessment. So is there a place, I mean, that's a little bit different than what we're looking at for our transit, or that we would post on Transit Talent, for instance, for the
Agreed.
general manager. So is that something we can just maybe put in a local paper, or what would your guys' recommendations be for us to solicit interest on that?
Couldn't we post it in Indeed, or, you know, one of the more generalized
Mhm.
site? Because we're, you know, you're kind of looking for a business person too.
Maybe a post on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
think
idea.
the only thing is, and when it probably is fine to do this on LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever, but we're not looking to hire an employee.
No,
Right.
it's a contract itself, but I've seen
Right.
LinkedIn do like we're looking to shift culture change, you know, like, or
Yeah.
there's companies that are on LinkedIn that give you the ad for that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the opposite would be true.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you need to go out there. I think there's other places that you would solicit for an RFP. I don't think you'd use it. You're not hiring an employee.
Yeah,
You're looking for a contract, and that needs to go elsewhere. There's other procurement pieces that need to be followed. I think ODOT could help you with those locations on where you would need to go to solicit, but I don't think in the newspaper or Indeed are the proper locations.
Oh, you disagree, Mike?
I disagree. I don't think those are the proper places for an RFP. And I think also, you know, you might, you might, and I suspect you will, get quite a bit of value from either person is being considered for the interim general manager role.
Mm-hmm.
You may have some pretty good interactions. They have both gone through and revamped systems and in both their agencies and have been rather successful. So I think even just having them on board may be sufficient to get what you're after. But if you still need something after that, then maybe you do something. But you have to go out further than that for your RFP process.
yeah,
So we want to move this to
we need to ask ODOT.
agenda item next time.
Well, how about, could you talk to a headhunter?
Well, we have to follow whatever the
Procurement.
procurement process is, so we need to look at our policies, make sure that we follow that exact, and then probably, like Mike said, talk to ODOT about what the steps are so that we are 100% in compliance.
Yeah, you're not hiring an employee. You're hiring a personal service.
Mhm.
Right.
You're
Exactly.
contracting with somebody, and so you need to follow that process to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
I agree. And you know, through this audit process, we've learned a lot about the procurement process, and there are basically 3 different levels. There is the district level that has really the least amount of strings attached, and we're able to operate with very limited funds under just the district, which is, I think, basically our medical transport income. Then you have the state that has their own procurement requirements, which I think they're pretty, well, they're a little less strict than the FTA requirements. There was
Barely.
a recent bill that went into effect, I want to say in 2022 or 2023. And I'm very, I'm just learning this stuff, but I had read that they actually were trying to make it a little bit easier to get things done in Oregon, but the federal government hasn't quite caught up with that yet. So then the FTA has additional regulations. So it really depends on what money you're using to fund projects. And that sort of determines what rules you have to follow, which is why ODOT is, recommends following, stricter rules just to like sort of protect just in case. But yeah, this is all very
And
interesting.
our policy is stricter than the federal or state level. And so our own procurement policy is actually blocking us from some of the things that we can do
Yeah.
because it's stricter than the state requires. So we need to change our procurement policy if we want to follow state
Mhm.
rules. I mean,
Well, I
just,
think our procurement policy follows FTA.
I think it,
Stricter.
yeah.
It's
So
stricter.
you'd have
Yeah,
to,
we need to
you'd have
look
to
at all of it together. Go
yeah, I
ahead.
think if you're going to change it, you'd have to have something that specifies only as it applies to state funds. If you have even a penny of federal funds in it, then it's all federal.
No, I think we
Right.
should go with whatever the federal rules are, but we talked a lot yesterday that it's actually stricter than that. It's stricter than we're required to be, because it goes all the way down to the money that Michaela was talking about, the funding that is our own money, like we've blocked
Mhm.
that. And we don't need to. But that's another work session problem later.
Yeah, we could put that on the agenda, so we don't forget about it if you guys want to.
Sure.
Okay, you want to just have that
Mhm.
earmarked for our next regular meeting, not our work session, Cheryl?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Okay, so are we done discussing that one? Anything else?
Nope, it's moving.
Okay, review disciplinary policy. So this came out of our discussion at one of our prior board meetings in the recent past. I'm not sure which one it is. We have a disciplinary policy that we put into effect several months back that we have discussed needs to be basically redone. So there was a second paragraph. Do you have the policy in front of you, Cheryl, or is it part of the
Yes.
board
Is it part of
packet?
the thing?
Yes, it's on the cover, it is the cover page. So during the 422 special board meeting, the board adopted an interim policy regarding
Mhm.
management conduct, and the policy, it follows the introduction there. So the second paragraph is senior management will not take disciplinary action upon other senior management without prior board of directors approval.
Yep. All right. So the goal right now is to remove that second paragraph. I believe that our job descriptions, employee handbook, all of our policies are due. Is it the 5th? September 5th? Is that the date?
It'll be our September regular board meeting.
That's when they're due to, or for, per the action plan?
The action plan may have put a different date in there. I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
The
So
16th
anyway,
The 16th.
yeah,
is
this
board meeting.
will then be finalized prior to that and yeah, ready for our change in leadership. So I will entertain a motion to accept the changes to the interim policy. Do you guys not want to change this anymore?
I'm just reading it again. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, no, that's fine.
So the very first paragraph, So every member of management is to take complaints directly to the executive committee for investigation? And like, that's the way the first paragraph reads. That's not even the second paragraph.
mhm. Yeah, that's why we formed the executive committee,
Okay,
to field these things. We don't have to do that. You want to disband the executive committee? But that is how that's how we're set up right now. Yes.
yeah.
I don't want to take them to the executive committee. I would, I'd kind of like to hear what
This, go ahead.
Julie Brown has to say on that, how they handle it at the Rogue Valley Transportation District, and
So-
maybe what she recommends.
So the way, and I should have brought that policy with me. I didn't think about it. I apologize. But the way that UHI policy reads is that every member of senior management is to take all complaints to the executive director unless they are about the executive director, in which case it goes to the executive committee. Like, you know what I mean? So like, there's like another
Mhm.
caveat in there, because like, it doesn't make sense that the board is fielding something if it's one, if Sherry has a concern about Becky, like that shouldn't come to
Mhm.
us unless it's already been fielded. Now, if she had already gone to Cheryl and didn't feel like it had been addressed, then 100% it comes to us. But it's like we're missing a step in this policy. So I don't think the way this reads, even without the second paragraph, is right, personally.
So do you want to make a
can-
motion to amend it, Natasha? Okay.
Yes, I do. I want to make a motion to amend it.
Okay, what
to
would you like
say-
it to read?
To say something different. We'll take complaints directly to their supervisor. Like, I think, well, I guess senior management implies that their supervisor is the general manager, so that's fine. Take complaints directly to their supervisor unless said complaint is about their supervisor. That's not great language. I'm on the fly here, sorry.
I don't think that's bad. Does anybody else have a recommendation of how to write that?
Are you talking basically everybody below the general manager, or are like is HR and operations are technically below general manager?
Yes,
Mhm.
everybody reports
So
to the.
so that
And
would make
financial
sense that
manager.
if you say supervisor, because she is their supervisor, so you're taking,
Right.
yeah, so that makes
I'm
sense.
leaving it a bit more generic, because then as we grow, we don't have to change it when there becomes another level.
I
Right,
like it. So what if we actually
So-
removed senior from the very beginning
just
and it just
says-
said management, which includes the general manager, operations
Sure.
manager?
Sure.
And then at the end of that, and other supervisors will take their complaints directly to their
their immediate
manager.
supervisor, yeah,
Mhm.
Sure.
it's
So
like,
if a bus driver complains about the general manager, where is it going?
Their supervisor.
First to their supervisor and then to us, right?
Yes. And
Is that
if
what you're
they
Or
saying?
feel
would
like,
would it continue up the chain of supervisors?
well, it would skip the general manager, but yes, it could.
Well, would it go, I mean, it could go to the transit supervisor, which could go to the operations manager, which could then,
I mean,
It-
that is,
General manager.
that is the way it works at UHI, like
Yeah.
I
the
think that-
DSP goes to the assistant manager, who then goes to the manager, who then goes to the director, who then comes to HR. So, I mean, that is more like, it's a lot of steps, like, it doesn't mean that you can't skip a step because something's egregious. It
Mhm.
just means that that's the normal process. Now, if I was literally harassed and hit by the general manager, well, then of course I'm gonna skip some steps and go to the board because this is egregious and different level. But if we're talking,
Mhm.
I didn't like the tone in which she said something to me yesterday, that's gonna go through proper channels.
Right.
I think that makes sense to go up the ladder. It just makes more sense because it can be taken, it can be addressed and taken care of pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Yeah, always address at the lowest level.
I
Agreed.
agree too. Mhm.
Okay, I don't know if we
Executive
had any
committee
law for
complaints take a long time, so,
They do,
um,
and it slows the
so-
process for everything, which is appropriate, but not for everything at all times.
It seems as if that second paragraph, one of the discussions was that instead of not take disciplinary action, will not terminate other senior management without prior board direction.
is that what we had discussed? I know we had put this on for re-review, and I thought it was removing that paragraph, but maybe that was the discussion, will not terminate.
I agree with that.
Okay,
Do we
We're
care about
wordsmithing right now.
suspensions? Are we fine with suspensions without board approval?
I think, it's not a
I-
permanent, employment decision. I
Right.
think that management
I don't
kind of
think-
has to have that authority.
Agreed. Beautiful. Okay, so now how does it read?
I have management, which includes general manager, operations manager, HR manager, and finance manager will take complaints directly to their supervisor unless the complaint is about their supervisor.
Then it'll go to the executive committee.
In which case,
Okay, in which case, there you go. In which case,
In which case it goes to the next highest
Yes.
Oh, good
manager,
job.
the next level of management, or to the executive committee if no other
as
managers are available.
appropriate or something, yeah.
Okay,
okay.
perfect.
Also, Cheryl, I think we had said, because we're removing senior from management, that you should strike the "and" before finance manager, and you should say or other supervisors or other
Oh,
management or something like that.
Or all other management,
Hmm.
all other management. Okay.
Uh,
Back up here, yeah,
finance manager or,
other management.
okay. Now we need to read it again.
Yeah,
Okay.
There.
Management, which includes the general manager, operations manager, HR manager, finance manager, and all other management will take complaints directly to their supervisor unless the complaint is about their supervisor, in which case it goes to the next level. And then I should say up to and including the executive committee.
yes,
Okay.
There we go. I like up to and including. That's
Yep.
good. Hmm.
executive committee will bring recommendations, so then do we need to
Well, it
change
should
that?
say if,
line?
yeah,
If-
if escalated to the
If
executive
escalated,
committee.
There you go.
I would say the executive committee and the board, because the executive committee just makes a recommendation to the board.
Say it
Well,
again,
that it
Mike.
says the executive committee will
Committee will
bring
bring
recommendations
To the UPTD.
to the board.
Okay, perfect.
Do you think that's okay, Mike?
I think it reads fine.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I just want to make sure that that was stated in there.
Yeah.
You read it this time.
Management, which includes the general manager, operations manager, HR manager, finance manager, and all other management, will take complaints directly to their supervisor unless the complaint is about their supervisor. Then they will take it to the, I don't know what that
In
middle
which
part is,
case?
in which case, and
It goes directly to it goes to the next level up to and including.
including the executive committee for investigation. If escalated, the executive committee will bring recommendations to the UPTD Board of Directors. I shortened that, sorry.
That's good.
And then the next line, I currently have senior management will not terminate other senior management without prior board of director approval.
No, I think
Agreed.
that, I think it would need to say the general manager cannot, because nobody else has that authority.
That's true. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
General manager will not terminate members of senior management maybe? of
Sure.
senior management without prior board of director approval. And then this interim policy will expire upon the board of director adopting updated bylaws. Good?
Just strike that though, the interim policy will expire. Right?
Okay. Deal. All
We
gone.
actually, I think we wanted this to be written into our bylaws, but
It will be
yeah,
at a later date.
we'll fix that later. We have bigger fish to fry.
That'll be a different thing at some
Oh my
point.
gosh. Okay. Do we like it?
I think so, yes.
I think it
Yes.
works. Okay, so I won't let you or make you restate it, but Natasha made a motion
Motion.
to accept a
Amend.
modified a modified policy. Do I have a second for her modifications?
Second.
Oh, who was it?
It was
Doug?
Doug.
Okay. It's a
You can give
race.
it to whoever you want.
All right, Doug seconded. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed?
Aye.
Janice opposes or?
No, I said aye. I'm sorry,
Oh.
I'm babysitting, so I'm trying to be quick.
Oh, no, you're fine. Okay, so it sounds like it was unanimous.
Yeah.
All right, let me get back up to the agenda. Sorry, I don't have this printed out, you guys.
Michaela,
Oh, yes.
before we go into executive session,
Mhm.
with everything going on, I'd like to add a small portion of time for public comment.
We may be able to add that to the end. Do we have Ron on here?
Not
I
yet.
don't
No.
see Ron.
Oh.
I see. Yeah, no.
Well, I guess we could do public comment before we go into executive session since we're still waiting on him, if everybody is okay with that. What do you guys think?
Sure, you want
I'm
a
good
few
with it.
minutes?
Okay, cool. Then we will go ahead and open it up to executive session. Do we have anybody, or sorry, not executive
Public
session,
comment,
public
yeah.
comment? Sorry,
Okay.
losing it. Do we have public in there? I can't see. You guys, is there
Not in
anybody
the
in the room
room.
with you?
Not in the room, no.
It'll be all online.
Okay, perfect. So we have a couple people online. Do you guys want to raise your hand if you have any public comment and I can call on you? All right, I
No
don't
hands.
see any
No hands.
hands. So,
What's down in the morning?
I think maybe that was a comment earlier,
Okay.
yeah.
okay, well then I guess we can go ahead and move into executive session. It will just monitor the, what is it called? We'll monitor for Ron to join if he joins, if you could do that, Cheryl. That would be great.
So we do not have the option to put anybody in a waiting room, so anybody that wants to come back after executive session would need to disconnect and call back in or connect again.
Okay, yes, and they can wait in the waiting room until we come
Yes.
out of executive session. They'll be let back in automatically as soon as we exit executive session. So, so yeah, if you
Yes.
guys can disconnect and then just call back really quickly, you'll just be in a waiting room for a second and then we'll be back when we're done talking. All right, let us know, Cheryl,
we're
when
there?
we're, yep.
We are getting slow.
So Michaela,
Yes,
is our
Jenny?
executive session literally gonna just be a second?
it's not
So
going to
I-
be very, well, it depends on if Ron shows up.
I-
Because we need some advice.
We'll have to announce what section two that we're gonna go
Oh,
into
thank you.
executive
Yes.
session under.
Executive session ORS 192.660 2I and
We still
ORS.
have, somebody who, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You
Okay.
have a couple people, she can still announce, yeah.
ORS 192.6608 to review and evaluate the performance of an officer, employee, or staff member if the person does not request an open hearing. This reason for executive session may not be used to do a general evaluation of an agency goal, objective, or operation, or any directive to personnel concerning those subjects. And ORS 192.6602H to consult with your attorney regarding your legal rights and duties in regard to a current litigation or litigation that is more than likely not to be filed. All right, then we will go ahead and join our public meeting again.
Okay, I'll let everybody in.
And then Jennifer Bragg had raised her hand and evidently, or hadn't raised her hand,
Couldn't raise her
couldn't
hand,
raise her
so
hand.
she wanted the opportunity to speak. All right.
Okay, so to-do list. With due dates.
Are there,
And
do we have
next.
2 weeks?
All right, do we have everybody back in?
On Friday, it appears so, yes.
Okay, perfect. So it was brought to our attention that in the chat, Jennifer had noted that she
Jennifer's is connecting
was,
to audio, Michaela.
Yeah,
oh,
she's not all the way in yet.
well, she was unable to raise her hand, so we were going to let her pop back in for public comment, but let's just, I guess we can't do
we do
that. Well,
public
if she
comment at
pops
the
back
end?
in, what? Sure.
Okay.
All right.
So-
Go ahead.
So I make a motion to produce a interim general manager and an interim operations manager contract. Is there any other words? Is that sufficient?
That's
Okay.
sufficient. Is there a
Second.
second? on that?
I
Was that Doug?
It was John.
Oh, John. Okay. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
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 I,
Opposed? None opposed. All right. We are going to do our best to do some interviews by Wednesday. So we are going to ask that that Becky post both interim positions for us. We're not going to be able to have the contracts available, but we'll just go ahead and use the general job descriptions that we have right now, and the official contract will have all, further details in there by Wednesday. But we would like to expedite that as much as possible. So Cheryl, can you provide some direction to Becky to have her post both of those positions for us? Or is she on the
Yes.
phone? Oh, she's on here. Okay.
She's on the top.
Hopefully she can hear.
Okay, good.
I would
Okay.
send out specifically the certain individuals, from, RVTD, JCT and Randy.
I will
Yes,
reach
who
out to
has
both.
their contact? You have them?
Well,
I do too.
I was gonna say, I'm 90% sure I do. If not, I will ask Cheryl for them. Cause I'm 90% I have them.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and any other, potential interest that you guys are aware of, feel free to reach out to them. Obviously, this is being done on an expedited basis, but we would like as many applicants as possible. We're going to try to do interviews on Wednesday, and I think that's all I have on that. All right. Are there any other items of business that we need to cover?
Becky asked, is she posting these to transit sites only? Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, that's fine. It could be to Indeed or, any place. I mean, I would hope they would have transit knowledge, but we could say that is strongly encouraged or
Heavily weighted.
But yeah, I think we can post.
I think we have to say
multiple
transit
places.
knowledge required for these two
Required,
positions.
yes.
It's really not
Yes.
even a need, or want.
I think it says it in the job description already. I think there's an experience level noted in there.
Becky asked if it's interim only or permanent, but it is
Interim
interim only.
Interim only.
Yes.
during work session, we will be talking about what structure looks like.
Yes.
And it still says connecting to audio, Michaela, so I think for some reason hers is being funky.
Okay.
And Becky did say thanks.
Oh,
Oh, awesome.
good job.
Thank you. All right. Any other orders of business before I close the meeting?
I think we can close the one other thing, it's not an order, like it's not, whatever the right words are. But we did talk a little bit about making a to-do list for the next 2 weeks while Cheryl's here of items that we think are higher priority. So we get those kind of organized and so, I'll take the to-dos that you sent me, I think. And send that to this team so we can prioritize what we think is the pressing matters between now and the 13th.
Yeah, and I know that the two top on the list are your board packet and the drug and alcohol findings.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. All right, you
Thank
guys.
you, Cheryl.
With that, we will go ahead and adjourn at 1:50 p.m. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, you guys.
Thank you.
10 minutes to my next meeting, which is perfect.